Hello everyone, Vampire 218 here, and I'm joined today by... This is where you guys say your names.
Oh, we say our names right now?
Yeah.
I am really sorry. This is Levonant, a.k.a. Warfare 120, joined by the infamous Vampire 218. I said your name correctly this week.
Yes.
And first off, I just want to say thank you for having me on your show. It's kind of like we're friends and stuff now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Look at, like, we're all official here with actual papers and not just pictures of cats.
Yeah. What's going on, Pookie Trans? My name is Pookie Craftmaster, and today we are doing the draft recap for MCL Moon Conference.
Week 1.
Yeah.
Week 1.
On the scale of 1 to awesome, it's awesome. It's the most hype league out there, and we're getting ready to bring you what happened in week 1 because it's fun.
And I will also say thank you for inviting me and welcoming me to this recap. Let's go.
Okay, so the first match we're going to be going over here is the Psychic team of Sky versus the Flying team of Jolts. And PokeCraft Master, can you bring us over the box score real quick?
It was a 5-0 loss. It was a it was a 1-0 loss for Psychic.
Okay, you have to go over actually what happened on the box score. Mega Metacham, didn't really do any work. Latios neither did it. Latios. Mew didn't do any work. Slowbro kind of put in a little bit of work, got a kill. Victini went hardcore in the paint though, getting 4 kills and 1 death. Jinx took a fall and lost it all. But ladies and gentlemen, look over at the flying time. We have Pavilion getting the 1-0. We have Masquerade with a kill and a death. Pincer, Mega Pincer, came out hard in the paint, getting 4 kills, 1 death. While the rest of his mons, Tornadus T, Skarmory, and Honchkrow, all fell by the wayside in a 1-0 victory for the flying time in what was clearly a tough match.
And I mean, it's really sad for me being the Steel type to see Skarmory not putting in any real work in this match.
Moment of silence for Skarmory.
For sure. Starting right away, the first thing I really saw was that turn 1 lucky crit. It made it from about a 40% roll to Oko to a guaranteed Oko, and I think that put in some real big work in the match because it really gave the momentum to that flying. Early on, it let them get that Oko without even having to worry about I believe, second attack or first attack. Either way, it was a very nice Oko right there.
Absolutely. What was really cool with the match, in my opinion, is, it was looking pretty rough for the Sky team from quite the beginning. But then, because once Mega Pincer got rolling, Mega Pincer looked ready to kill it all. But then finally, whenever it got down to it, man, we saw Victini just come out and start popping off some Thunderbolts. But then when it all got said and done, Pavilion came in, finally got, we got Victini under control. And Pavilion I think did a quiver dance then Bug Buzz, correct, to finish off the match. Is that correct?
I believe it was 2 quiver dances, but it was really just insane to see. You never really think of the regional bug, Butterfree or things like that. Right. Sweeping something like a Mew, and Pavilion really put in work. And even looking at this match, I think it was the closest match this week for sure.
Absolutely. When you see a match like this where really both teams are going, all in all the time, and neither one really looks like they're going to fall out hardcore, and it just comes down to the wire where, you can look up at the end of the match and go, man, you guys put in work, and I'm not upset for either one of them in this match. They did a great job. As far as a few corrections, one thing I don't understand Mega Metacham in this matchup. You have so many Megas available to you as the Psychic type.
Mega
Exactly.
Gross.
Realize gross. Yeah, true.
Exactly. I mean, why would you bring a mon that has a natural disadvantage in this matchup for your Mega?
Yes.
When you have Megas that are going to have natural advantages. Metagross, Slowbro, and if you look at also the one that I was thinking of at the time was Alakazam. All 3 of those are going to have a naturally more, a little bit more of an edge in this matchup naturally than Mega Metacham would, because Mega Metacham's best moves are going to be nerfed a little bit because of the flying type.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, he had to have Thunder Punch or Ice Punch on that Mega Metacham just to counter some mons.
Absolutely, and the thing is that because of that right there, I think that Sky would have had this match in the bag had he selected a Mega other than Medicham or Gallade. So that was really a mega fail. I'm just being cute. Sky, you put in a great match though, but you gotta be really, if you're gonna pick a Mega for a matchup, you gotta make sure it's the right Mega for your team. And I feel like Medicham wasn't the right one. PCM, stop typing.
I'm not typing.
You're typing.
All right.
But anyway,
let's go to the second match, which is Dark versus Dragon. And can somebody read over those box scores? I did send those to you. So
was a 6-2 win. It was a 4-0 in the Dark type favor. Weavile got 1 kill, but Bishop put in the most work with 5 whopping kills and no deaths in that match. Sharpedo did nothing. Tyranta, no kills. Mandibuzz, no kills, and Sneasel, no kills.
But yeah, if you look over the Dragon side, I mean, the Dragon side just couldn't do anything. They couldn't break anything out. It was really sad to watch in a lot of ways, just how, Dragon has been kind of in the overall. This was one of the few times we've seen Dragon, get into trouble this season so far. And Vampire, I just don't know what was happening out there. I think what really happened is we saw way too much relying. We didn't see enough relying on Mega Altaria, and we saw way too much focus on trying to get, the wrong Dragons ready to go in that match. I feel like.
I mean,
what do you feel?
Well, I just feel that Irish wasn't playing aggressive enough. I mean, I'm watching his plays, and he's really, sure, some of his mons are just getting O-code, but, did he even have a Scald on that Goodra? Like, I wasn't seeing the offense that he should be bringing with Dragon. I mean, Dark, I don't believe has a Fairy, so he could have easily just, brought some really good heavy-hitting Scarfers, locked into that Outrage, and, pick up a kill. Bring in his pick up another kill.
It's like a Mega Altaria return with Dragon Dance or Hyper.
Yeah. The thing is that I feel like Irish could have done a lot better had he done his best to make sure he took out the Weavile and Sneasel early. Yes. He didn't do that. We knew that Weavile and Sneasel were both going to come. I mean, they're both priority hitting ice type Pokemon that fall on the Dark team. We knew they were going to come. There was no doubt in my mind they wouldn't come to this match. But the thing is that he let Bisharp dance around him, and it wasn't even. I don't even think it was Defiant Bisharp, if I'm correct.
Bisharp. I don't think it was revealed whether it was or not, but Bisharp put in a lot of work, and that really surprised me because as the Steel type trainer, I've never even thought of using it because I was thinking that 4 times weakness to fighting, but Dragon didn't even seem to have any answers for that.
It really didn't, and the worst part about it is that Bisharp wasn't just a standstill planted mon in this match. It was switching in and switching out the whole entire matchup, and for it to still hop in and hop out of the match pretty much unscathed each time and pop off 5 kills. That's called bad prep. And he may have been rushed. Irish may have been rushed, but that mon should not have been able to, because Dragon type has access to a lot of good fire Pokemon, and the thing is that you knew that the Weavile, the Sneasel were going to come, so you should have already had an answer to Bisharp, because fire would have naturally taken care of Bisharp. So where was your Mega Charizard X or Y? Where was your Salamence rocking a fire attack? Where were the mons that needed to come that could have taken down a Weavile, Sneasel, and Bisharp? I didn't see one in this roster that had the ready moves to do it other than Mega Altaria. And Altaria, I'm sorry, did not put in work.
That is absolutely correct. And I mean, looking at his team, I believe they all have, except for Mandibuzz, they have the common weakness of fighting with Weavile, Sneasel, and Tyranitar and Bisharp having that quad weakness to fighting. So,
right.
I mean, going into this match, I would have prepped a lot more fighting than was brought, and Dragon gets good amount of access to fighting moves on certain mons, and such as I know that Kyurem Black gets Focus Blast. I would imagine then that Hollow Kyurem would also. I don't have them up right now, but.
Well, I understand it, and even if they didn't, Dragon Pokemon are naturally the strongest type base stat-wise.
True.
Overall, on
Haxorus
average.
gets brick break.
Exactly. They naturally have one of the highest base stat totals among their fully evolved Mons. And the thing is that he could have, even if it came down to it, how strong his Mons are, he could have rocked a hidden power fighting on a couple of them and still been able to do some serious work.
Or even just lock into a scarfed fighting move, and that would have done just immense work because Haxorus isn't slow. So.
Or it could have run Mega Altari, Dragon Dance, get 2 Dragon Dances, click return, and Earthquake.
He would have been dead. Exactly. He definitely wouldn't have gotten 2 Dragon Dances.
He didn't have enough time to do that. He didn't have enough time to do that because he hadn't taken off the Weavile or the Bisharp. We don't know if the Sharpedo was Mega or not. Because I don't think it ever touched the field.
I don't think it either.
And the thing is that there were several Mons in this match on Pollett's side that never had to touch the field, as he kind of danced about the whole entire match trying to basically get Bisharp in there at the right time to get the work done.
But there was
and that's so scary.
Like, there was never even a moment there where Pollett was like looking like he was in a bad situation. I mean, I think one of his only deaths was, I believe, from recoil on Sneasel.
Yeah, it was a recoil. It was like I'm not sure if it was a recoil or if it was a life orb thing.
I think it was like a life orb type thing.
Yeah, so I mean,
probably life orb, and then Tyranitar died by like something else.
Tyranitar died from Gudra, but at the same time, it was Dragon's a really great type, and Irish is going to be able to bring it hard. I've seen him battle better than that. Pollett just had the real. I think what happened is that Pollett just really threw him off guard with the Bisharp, so he was scared to even touch Altaria this match until it was too late. That's what I think happened.
I mean, Bisharp's pretty slow, but it has that power, and that's, I think, really what Irish must have been afraid of, because, you know, Mega Altaria, again, could have put in work. I believe Garchomp also, if I remember correctly, does get fighting coverage, so...
Right.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Anyway,
that's probably what happened. Let's move on to the next match.
Let's move on to Fire versus Fairy.
Versus Fairy.
Someone can bring me over those boxes.
PCM
so,
go.
He ran got 1 kill with 1 death on it. Darmanitan got 0 deaths and 0 kills, which probably didn't hit the field. Mega Charizard Y got 0 kills and 1 death. Victini got 2 kills and 0 deaths, with the most kills in the game tied with Volcanion, which got 2 kills and 0 deaths, and Entei got 1 kill and 0 deaths. It was a 4-0 game for the Fire division, for Fire type.
What happened on the Fairy team?
Well, the Fairy team had Mega Nancy, which died, which is 0-1. Clefable, which is 0-1. Azumarill, which is 1-1, picking up a kill. A Slurpuff, which is 0-1. Gramble, which is 1-1, and Togekiss, which is 0-1.
Well, you know, going over this match right here, I think that the biggest thing that I noticed, at least going into this thing, first off, Heatran was the perfect bring for this match for the Fire type. Yes. The thing is, he didn't have to use Heatran; he just had to have Heatran, and that right there just caused him trouble. The Volcanion was great also because of the fact that, you know, Volcanion gets 2 amazing poison type moves that fit its natural gifting with Sludge Wave and I think it's what's the other one right there? Is it Sludge Bomb or whatever? But the point is
Sludge Bomb. But, you know, just to jump off of that, I feel that Volcanion was actually the better bring in this situation because, you know, it's natural bulk that the few fairies that can actually, you know, hit it like Mega
take down a Volcanion.
They don't hit it very hard. They hit it like barely anything because Volcanion is actually very bulky, and getting access to both poison and steel through Sludge Bomb, Sludge Wave, and Flash Cannon, that's huge while resisting that Fairy Stab.
Oh, absolutely. And the big thing about it as well is that, you know, Mega Diancie was definitely you know, the Fairy team did what they could to prep this. Let's be honest, the Fairy team did what they could. You know, I didn't realize this going into this matchup but Fairy does have a serious disadvantage overall against a Fire type. If you look at their whole
Fire does resist Fairy.
I mean, but the thing is that, you know, they do just so much good work against it as a whole, as a type. You know, Diancie tried its best to get to work, but, you know, Was it just me, or did I see that that in the match that the Chicago Grand Bulls did not rock protect first turn from Mega Diancie?
I saw that too, and I was watching that match, and they very much said that they completely forgot Mega Diancie's speed pre-Mega, and that is just huge.
That's a huge thing. Mega Diancie's first turn, every turn, is protect. It has to be protect. If it's not protect, it dies, or gets seriously injured.
Well, it depends, to be honest, what it's going against. Certain mons can't really touch it because, again, it does have the ×4 weakness to steal, but unless you know they have a steal coverage or are planning for HP steal, you can get away with maybe a stealth rock, but you should always run protect on it for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely. And the thing was is that I didn't, he didn't do that, and that probably really hurt him in the overall flow of the game. So I think, Mega Diancie probably could have gone out there, and if it had gotten rocking, could have done the work that needed to be done. Azumarill, I was surprised to not see a belly drum Azumarill. I kind of was. I wanted to see belly drum Azumarill right there and see if he could go for it right there.
I mean,
but I get it. It's dangerous.
For sure, it's definitely dangerous, especially when your opponent can easily prep for that. I mean, fire, it had the capacity to set up rocks. It had the capacity for those massive hits that can just, kill Azumarill. So, I mean, even like Entei with an extreme speed at that point, I believe kills Azumarill from 75%.
I believe so.
I haven't done the calc in a while, but it definitely sounds plausible. The big thing about it is that obviously Axeman did the right prep right there. He brought Heatran, he brought Volcanion, and then he brought Victini because there's a lot of fairy mons that would be possibly brought to this match that do have the weakness, or at least the typing that exposes them a little bit to electric type of moves or anything in Victini's move pool to a certain degree, which, let's be honest, is just vast and tricky.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. And this was just, this was a pretty typical match to see. I mean, going into this, I would have hedged all my bets on fire just because of that. It's not even that Fairy's weak to fire, it's just that Fairy can't really do much to fire, and they have such a limited selection of mons, most of them being pure Fairy type at this point, so.
Absolutely, either that, or they're you got fairy normal types, a couple of them, or you even got a couple just fairies that really just don't do the work. I was really surprised though to not see Mega Altaria in this match, and instead of Diancie. I mean, Diancie's a great mom for this matchup. Yes, don't get me wrong, but I feel like Altaria does better against the possibility of them bringing some other things.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think his reasoning here was Mega Diancie gets coverage to both ground and rock, which are two of Fire's main weaknesses. And had it been able to get that Mega off and set that up, I'm looking at his team here, and between the Diamond Storm and the Earth Power, I don't think any of his mons would have been able to survive that.
You got a good point. You got a very good point. The problem was, again, of course, was that he couldn't get it off. I mean, that's the real sad thing about this. I bet you that the Grand Bulls would have definitely had a lot more fun and rocked a lot harder in that situation had they been able to get that protect off round one.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Let's move on to the normal versus electric.
Yeehaw.
Now, with the normal versus electric, we have the Diggersby who went 0-1 with a Smeagol, which is a whatever it's called, a passive mon, but it can use Dark Void, Spore, Sticky Web, Stealth Rocks, which are not surprising, went 0-1. Megalophony picking up 2 kills and 1 death. Miltank picking up having 0 kills and 1 death. Snorlax 1 kill, 1 death. And Porygon Z 0 deaths, 1 kill. 0 kills, 1 death. My bad. Sorry. Electivire on the electric team with 1 kill and 1 death. Electros with 1 kill and 1 death. Mega Manectric with 0 kills and 1 death. Thunderous T with 1 kill and 0 deaths. Rotom Wash with 3 kills and 0 deaths. And Zapdos, which went 0-0.
And I mean, really looking at this, the main thing I saw was Snorlax was tanking all day long.
Absolutely. You know, Snorlax in normal, I feel like Snorlax in regular league format is an all right mon. You know, it's a tier 3 in most leagues, and it's all right if you run the right sets in it. But it's definitely an MVP class mon in the normal type roster.
Absolutely.
You know, its thick fat ability definitely pricks it up. And gets, you know, a lot of things going for it. It has access to a lot of good things that are powerful enough. You know, even if you nerf its attack out, which happened with the Intimidate on the bring in from the Mega Manectric, it still can put in some serious work.
Absolutely, and I mean, you can run so many different sets with it too. You can run, you know, a setup set as we saw in the Sun Conference. You can bring an assault vest, you can bring leftovers, you just have so many different options that you can go defensive, offensive, whatever you tank, you know, whatever you really want with that.
Yeah. And I think because of that, in all honesty, when the real reason why Finch lost this match to me, from what I'm looking at, is the fact that he did take the value of Snorlax too lightly in this match. There was a point where after he killed Manectric with the Snorlax, that it was Snorlax versus Thunderous Therian. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, he should have right then and there switched out into Smeargle, have Smeargle take the death, and then have Snorlax come back in with the full power rock slide that he used. Rock slide, the way that he used it, only did 48%. So the thing was that during that exchange, Snorlax did fall to two brick breaks. So the thing was, he sacked off Snorlax without using full power attacks.
Yeah.
And I don't think it wouldn't have altered Snorlax being able to OHKO it or anything, but it would have definitely put it more closer in play to where a fake out Lopunny kills the Thunderous Therian, and it puts his match into a lot better situation.
And something I was really seeing that was kind of weird was, I feel like the normal type forgot that Baton Pass doesn't, like the Baton Pass rules for this league.
Yes.
Because he was passing, like an agility or something, and not, like, why not pass a smash pass or something? Like, I'm trying to think, there have to be better things that he could have passed than just an agility. Because he passed speed to Mega Lopunny when he could have passed, Mega Lopunny, like, outspeeds, I believe, everything
Most
on the electric team.
Except for, like, it's a speed tie, I think, with Mega Manectric, I think.
Yes, probably. But even so, Dragon Dance. There you go.
But here, like what I would have done, in all honesty, he has the Smeargle. The Smeargle could have done the pass. If he wanted to change his roster, he could have brought regular Lopunny with Cosmic Power and Baton Pass that.
That's true. Well, you could have brought Smeargle with Cosmic Power, Baton Pass.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is that he has the ability right then and there to Cosmic Power. And Cosmic Power, while it wouldn't have really stopped the Rotom Wash going to work at the very end of the match, it's still would have given him a lot better options to get to work. And that's just what I was curious about,
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I really think the downfall of this is, if you look at the normal in the Sun League and how they prepped and how what they did, and I think that's really what should have been looked at here in team prep. Because, normal in the Sun League, they won a match they shouldn't have won, because against the Steel type, normal shouldn't win that match. But
right.
They prepped very well for that match. And I feel that the normal type team on this just really didn't. I'm trying to think. Like, you have Diggersby with the ground move, and I'm not sure. Did we see the EQ on that Snorlax? Because
I remember seeing the rock slide on the Snorlax, and I think we saw like a brick, like a fighting move on the Snorlax and return.
Mm-hmm.
That was most of the set right there. I didn't see a Chesto thing. I don't know what item he had on it. I don't remember off the top of my head. But I was definitely surprised. He, in my opinion, Snorlax. If he kept the same moveset, but then that last move was Resto with the Chesto. Then it would have been a whole new matchup again.
Absolutely. And you got to think, a lot of the electric types, that got brought, but in general are very special heavy. And I feel like he did prep for that with the Snorlax, but
Yes.
other than that, I really didn't see that prep. I mean, Mega Lopunny could have put in a lot more work, but I mean, he wanted to pass to the Diggersby first, and that really just struck me as this was, I don't know, a very odd match for the normal type, and I'm really hoping that they pull it around in the next week or two, like in the next match, because
The thing is, though, in that setup, I mean, I get it. You know, of the 3 Mons remaining, you know, Lopunny does not do work against a Thundurus Therian and a Zapdos because the fighting moves don't work so well. But then again, you shouldn't be putting fighting moves on an electric team on a versus electric team in the first place, because you know they're going to rock Mons that are going to be flying a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of good Mons in that pool. There's a Molga, there's the Thundurus, there's Zapdos, there's some flying power in that team. So why would you rock so much a fighting heavy team?
For sure.
He should have gone out early, and whenever he did that pass, he should have gone into Lopunny, and it should have been a different pass. It should have been in a Diggersby, because he wasted his one chance to get it off against the Rotom by going for a Swords Dance. He should have just gone for the move that was going to kill it.
Well, that's for sure. I definitely agree with that, because I mean, he definitely could have brought better. I think the baton pass rules for this league are what messed him up, because he definitely could have run, a Shell Smash or like Dragon Dance even, if he really wanted that speed boost. There were options. So
let's move on to the next match.
Yeah,
though. I mean,
Water versus Bug.
The Water vs. Bug matchup. Well, for the Bug team, we have Galvantula, Shuckle, Galvantula with 1-on-1, Shuckle, which was 1-on-1 surprisingly, Make Heracross, which was 1-on-1, Shedinja, which is 0-on-1, Scolipede, which is 0-on-1, and Scizor, which is 0-on-1. And over on the water side, we have Volcanion, which was 2-on-1, Mega Blastoise, which was 0-0, Tentacruel, which was 0-0, Callisto, which was 1-0, Empoleon, which was 2-on-1, and Rotom Wash, which was 1-on-1.
Yes.
Well, first off, starting this matchup, I loved watching this one to start it off. I mean, it really wasn't, a close match on the scorecard, but it was definitely fun to see an exchange of spam setup to start the match off on both sides. There was some serious spamming on both sides, and the thing is that the Empoleon spam was stronger than the Shuckle and Galvantula spam. That's just the truth.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Cloyster setting up was 2 or 3 layers of spikes quite early, or maybe not even, but either way, it was like turn 2.
First turn was Empoleon throwing its Stealth Rock. Second, while Shuckle threw a Sticky Web.
Yeah,
and the thing and then it just got ugly from that point on, because then Empoleon used a substitute, which while he went into Galvantula, which was smart.
Because what happened was Shuckle tried to Toxic as well, which was really weird. Because I'm really trying to think of what can a Shuckle do to a Empoleon.
Well, and also that, I mean, if I'm correct, Empoleon's a Steel type Mon. Why are you trying to Toxic it?
Well, that's what's really weird to me, because I'm trying to think. There's no reason for Empoleon to switch out at this point. Empoleon,
of course not.
Got the water coverage for Shuckle's rock, and even if Shuckle does like a times 16 hit to Empoleon, that's gonna do maybe 100 damage, because Shuckle's base attack is 5.
Well, absolutely. And the thing is that why would Empoleon switch? Because it nerfs the speed of the next Mon that brings out. There's no reason to.
Absolutely.
So I mean, granted, Red Cobra's, brought it back together whenever he brought out Mega Heracross, who even when after burned was still able to put in some power against him, so much so that he had to put up the Reflect just to be able to get it to kind of nerf it out a second layer of nerfing on the power. But I get the Shuckle, I get the Galvantula. I don't get it together. Why together?
Well, what I don't get is the Shedinja.
It didn't make sense.
They both get webs, so I don't understand why. Shuckle was used for webs, Galvantula was used for webs. Just pick one.
You don't need all 3 of those Mons in that matchup. You really don't.
Well, I understand both of them, to be honest. Galvantula could have been run with, the web and a very heavy electric set, right? Because going against water, sure, that's good coverage. And Shuckle, You know, Shuckle's pretty good stall-y type mon. It has the toxic. You know, Water only has that Empoleon, and you know, very few poison types, right? Like Tentacruel, Empoleon. I think those are the only two that I can really think of. Or yeah, I guess the baby Drealgi. But,
yeah.
Well, like, there's very few that are going to want to take that toxic from Shuckle. And Shuckle, again, it can like infestation you, force you to stay into that toxic, and it can take a hit from Water. I mean, pretty okay. Like, it's going to take 2 or 3 hits because of its, like, just insane special defense. Plus, it has good setup that, you know, Galvantula doesn't have. So I understand that. What really surprised me is Shedinja, and the way he used it, too. He just threw it out to rocks for no reason.
Which automatically kills it. I mean, it was just silly bring. It really was. I mean, I get it. If you're gonna bring Shedinja, you have to bring it against a team that first off is not going to be using spam move, status effect moves, and second off, you have to bring it out early. You can't bring it out, after things have already gotten ugly. Exactly.
I mean, I don't even think you should be bringing Shedinja in a league like this, because you got to think. Remember, that thing.
Yeah, he's prepped for your type.
Its weaknesses are pretty common because they're shared across your type. And so, even people running an HP are going to kill it.
Exactly. And the thing is that, guys, I love the versatility and the desire right here from the Bug team. But, he only really had 2 wall breakers and 3 stalls.
Yeah.
The Scolipede can be a wall breaker, but it takes a few turns to make it a wall breaker. And the thing is that this was not the week to bring a Scolipede. This was not the week to bring, 3 stall mons.
That's for
exactly. Sure. I know that he was excited with his team with Mega Heracross and Scizor, but you can't just rely on those 2 mons. DCM's stop typing. But that's the thing. That's the thing, though, is that it's really just it's one of those things, man. It just. Hunt did a great job, and the very end, I was surprised when it's all said and done that he didn't just bring out Rockefeller first turn, the Cloyster that he had on his set, and just spam that till victory the whole way through. I was surprised he didn't do that.
And I mean, really, where was the Levonant? Where was that this match that Bug could have brought? Because that's good coverage on the grass side, and he didn't bring it. Like, that would have been better than Shuckle.
Oh, absolutely.
But I don't know.
There was a lot of things that he could have brought differently that would have just worked better on his favor. I mean, if I'm correct, he could have I forget Selby's second type. Is it Bug? Is the second type?
It's Grass Psychic.
It's Grass Psychic. Sorry, then don't forget I brought it up. But I mean, there are things out there that he could have brought that made more sense.
Absolutely.
And but let's move on to the next match.
Yeah. So we got Ground versus Poison.
Ground vs. Poison, the Los Angeles, Ground vs. Poison. Hippowdon 0-1, Lando T 0-1, Mega Steelix 0-1, Excadrill 0-1, Bliscor 0-1, and Nidoqueen's 0-1. The Poison side with Mega Venusaur 0-0, Crobat 1-0, Gengar 1-0, Weezing 3-0, Tentacruel 1-0, and Roserade 0-0. It was a 6-0 in the Poison type vehicle.
So, I mean, early on, I was watching this, and you had commented that turn 4 crit, I believe that you said it mattered. And I was looking over, and I did the calcs for it, and it only mattered if Steelix had 252 HP and the Tentacruel was 252 with Modest, or
it was. If you notice, also I said LOL at the end of it, so it was kind of one of those joking crit matters.
Well, I mean, it did technically. It could have mattered, is what mattered.
Yes, it really could have.
It did.
Easily could have.
He didn't have the rights mods for it. I promise you, because I helped him out with the team build a little bit. And you can put together a team that you think is going to work on it, but when you have an experienced battler like Vandal X going against someone who's really just learning what makes the most sense in terms of competitive battling, there's a huge disadvantage regardless of typing at that point. Coach Ariados went for it, and he was fighting bravely the whole entire match. But man,
experience comes into play.
It does, because at the end of the day, there's only so much that you can try and fill in and let a coach know about. You can help a coach team build, you can help a coach figure things out, but at the end of the day, when
battle day comes up, it comes down to how well you play and how well you know the mons that you're fighting, you're battling.
Right. And poison, even though it's technically going to be a weakness to ground, it has a lot of mons that still put in some work against it.
And they are immune to it or not weak.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Going back over it, we did try to run. He did try to run we did try to set up a sand team for him. I probably should have just left Hippowdon out and probably just rocked a Mold Breaker Excadrill to take out the a couple of different things. Yeah, well, the Gengar, definitely the Crobat. I mean, that would have been a lot more interesting, for the team that he brought if I had run Mold Breaker, had him run Mold Breaker on there. At a certain point, he tried to, use the Hippowdon to keep things in favor, then whirlwind things out. And the problem is that it just didn't work. It just didn't work in the long run.
I think the biggest issue I saw is, again, the inexperience. The ground team brought a good team. He just didn't know how to use it. He made some major misplays in when he switched in his Hippowdon, and they're pretty common misplays. I've made them myself before I understood how sand, exactly how to run a sand team. And, what I really think we should be doing is, taking these newer players, and I did with Riley too. I helped him team build for his next match, because
I'm glad.
These newer players really need that, that experience, and not even someone who's super good, but someone who has just has those years in Pokemon to understand well, here's what you should be doing just to team build in general. Here's maybe some ideas, and I think we should be doing maybe group session with some of the people who really want to learn stuff like that, because ground is an amazing type to use, and it's not one of the harder types either, because setting up sand is probably the easiest of the weather to use to its fullest potential, because sunny day and rain dance, you both have to use those abilities around, and hail, you got to use shenanigans with that. But sand, half the time you're just using it to pop sashes. So.
Right, and the thing is about it as well is, like I said, it was definitely a tough team build for us. I'm not going to say anything rude about anyone. Just so you know, he was a great student trying to learn right here, and I feel bad that this match was against a guy as experienced as Vandal X. Vandal X, as is a team builder for the Atlanta Haluchas in the GBA, and he had everything covered. He really did. It was one of those that you can correct things and try to explain why things work and why things don't work. But at the end of the day, man, there's only so much you can do whenever you're up against a guy who just knows what to do in the situation.
Oh, absolutely, and I think that's the major issue there is that just the experience, and I really do think that Ariados, just like Riley, just like a lot of the people in that, they're not bad. They have that, but they just need to get that experience to get to the point where a lot of the other people are at. And that's, again, I think we should definitely do a team session at some point with people who want to learn, and just explain some of the ins and outs, because I do those weekly video or those daily videos where it's oh, hey, here's how you would want to use them on this, but in a league like this, that's going to completely change. The way you're going to run a Mega Steelix or an Excadrill or even a Hippo in this type of league is completely different than you're going to run it in something else. So it's definitely, it was a good match to a degree in that, he made some good plays. Coach Ariados definitely didn't make any major misplays or anything. It's just that Poison performed just exceptional.
Yeah, he got outplayed by a guy who really had the right idea for each individual move. The guy knew what kind of sets each one of the mons that he brought, that Ariados was going to bring, would do. And, there wasn't anything that you could do about it. The fact that it took 30 turns for Poison to overtake him, I don't care what you say. When you go 30 turns deep, you've done a good job.
Oh, absolutely. I always say, a good match doesn't start till you hit that 400 mark.
Exactly. And the thing is that, look, there's there's plenty of proof that there was some good plays, and I was really shocked that Vandal X didn't just sack off the Crobat right there. I mean, the score. What I'm trying to say is the score line does not reflect the battle.
Well, I believe Vandal X is the person on the results sheet who I was looking at and saying, wow, he is significantly higher than me, even having done only one more battle. So, I mean, it's very clear the skill level that he has, and that, even against me, I mean, I'm going to be going into one of the best matchups against him in Steel versus Poison, and I'm going to be having to prep for days, I think, just because of the skill level that this guy I've seen so far.
Exactly. I mean, you're going to have to do some serious work. You're going to have to... He's really good, man. I mean, like I said, front office team builder for Atlanta Haluchas in the GBA Pro League. Hovers around the 1800 tier in the OU format. He's a beast.
And we got him in our league, so...
Exactly, because congratulations.
I'll be pretty happy if I can even pull up a kill against him at this point. So...
Do I smell Master Ball? Do I smell Master Ball?
Let's move over to the next match, which ironically has two people from this stall in it.
Yeah. So it was myself versus Vampire in the Steel vs Grass matchup. And Mega Metagross went 0-0, Lucario went 0-0, Skarmory went 2-1, Heatran went 4-0. Ferrothorn went 0-0, and Ready Steel went 0-0, which, and then my grass types when Amoonguss went 0-1, Superior went 0-1, Chestnut went 0-1, Mixceptile went 0-1, Whimsicott went 0-1, and Breloom went 0-1.
And
so as you can see,
can I ask you a question, PCM? Did you at least run Mach Punch on Breloom, unlike Sablo did in the main league? in the Sun Conference.
No, I didn't. I ran a Substitute, Spore, Focus Punch, Swords Dance with Toxic Orb and Poison Heal. My goal was to get Substitute and Spore the Heatran that I knew was coming, but at the end of the day, I didn't. I saw a Specs Heatran, not Scarf Heatran.
Always Scarf Heatran. You're gonna find that. In a lot of my recaps, we're gonna see a lot of Scarf Heatran when I'm bringing Heatran.
Yeah, so because I'm gonna remember that if I battle you again. But I knew Heatran was coming, and it was unfortunate because Heatran always just destroys grass types. Like you can't. I had so much prep for a Heatran. I had some prep for Skarmory, but I didn't think it was gonna do too much work. But I had Hidden Power Ground Superior. I had Earthquake Sceptile. I had Focus Punch Breloom. I had. Yeah, it just...
Well, you brought the right things in Chestnut and Breloom. I'm a little curious about your set with Breloom. It probably would have been better just to bring a technician Mach Punch.
Absolutely, I'm thinking that because
you cannot risk the miss. Focus Blast always misses when you need it to.
Focus Punch. I'm running Focus Punch.
Oh, Focus Punch. I'm sorry, but still.
I'm running the Focus Punch set.
I think the Technician Mach Punch would have been better for you, though.
Yeah, so do I. I saw that after the battle.
You gotta think,
it was a misprep.
Focus Punch probably wouldn't have been what you should have brought because I have access to the Doublade, remember? And, I mean, I didn't really think about that to be an issue, to be honest, but had I even considered the Focus Punch, I mean, that's a one-turn charge?
Yeah.
I mean...
well, it's the same turn, but it's like second move guaranteed, right?
I believe it charges the first turn, and then the second turn it guarantees, like it hits.
Yes.
No, how Focus Punch works is you need it goes you use Focus Punch. That if they attack you that turn, it cancels out the move. But then on the same exact turn as you charge the move, it attacks. But they have to attack you first.
Okay, that makes sense then.
See, that's what I was saying.
Which is why sub Focus Punch. It's just misprep on my part.
Okay. I mean, at the end of the day, you were going to have a tough match here. Grass is a little interesting in how you have to play it. Vampire did the right thing. You had to prep for Heatran. You had to prep for Skarmory. Those are the 1 and 2 threats for his type against yours in terms of hand-to-hand combat. what I was surprised, what I was surprised at is what you could have done to really make this a bit more fair for your team. And this is what I would have done, is I would have probably tried to get in a passer, like a special passer, and try to get Superior rocking with an HP fire at like times 2 or 3. But that's with a scarf.
See, the reason I didn't run Hidden Power Fire because I knew Heat Ram was coming,
Well,
and then
Hidden
Heat Ram
Power
just.
Fire.
I ran Hidden Power Ground on Superior.
You ran Hidden Power Fire on something though.
Amoongus.
Yes, that's the one, because I scouted for that. I was scouting, I was sending my mons out, I'm like, I bet that's Hidden Power Ground. So I send out the Skarmory and it hits the Skarmory, so I'm like, well, that's Hidden Power Fire, let's go into Heatran.
Exactly, right? And the thing is that, the Lucario pick was interesting. What were you running on Lucario that match?
I actually don't remember what I was running on Lucario. I probably was running, I believe, an Ice Punch Extreme Speed set. Just,
Ooh, I like that.
I was hoping you'd, if anything was going to put in the luck, I was hoping it'd be Lucario because I love Lucario to death.
And you didn't even see play.
No. Can we trade types? I know it's not in the rules, but I will like that.
Yeah, no,
Right.
I was just running stuff like that. I think I ran Aura Sphere as well, just in case. I'm not sure exactly the set again. I know that I brought a very, I know I had ice coverage and I believe extreme speed, just to make sure that just in case he brought one of those, I believe times 4 weak to ice. I know that there are some. I just can't think of any of the ones offhand.
Right.
But I was afraid of that. Plus, there are certain mons he could have brought that would resist some of the other coverage moves I had. So I thought just bring a mon that is, really fast, has access to that extreme speed to just hit. You're neutral on, I believe, most of his mons. And then, Mega Sceptile too, again, that's HP Ice right there. Or not HP Ice, that's Ice Punch right there. I'm gonna outspeed and...
I was really shocked that you didn't just be a complete jerk, and instead of bringing Mega Metagross, just brought Mega Scizor and just went.
See, that's
crazy.
what I thought he was bringing. I thought he was bringing Mega Scizor. That's the main reason I ran Hidden Power Fire, because I would have run Hidden Power Ground if it wasn't for the Scizor. If you what?
But why hidden Power Fires when you could have just brought, I know that times 4 weakness for Mega Scizor, but you could have just brought Hidden Power Fighting and been safe for the entire team except for Skarmory.
Well, Hidden Power Fire also doesn't do that much, because you gotta remember, Ferrothorn's also a quad weakness with about comparable special defense to a degree, and it only did, I believe, a third, or not even to Ferrothorn. So
right. And that's natural. That's just like natural ones. But you ran it on a Moongus, didn't you? What's a Moongus's base special attack, guys? At the top of your head, do you guys know?
I feel like it's. Oh, you know what? I can look it up. But if I'm gonna guess, I want to say it's around 95.
Yeah, I know it's below. I'm pretty sure it's below 100 because it's not really used as an offensive mon enough for me, at least from what I've seen, for it to really be that kind of thing. So obviously, if you would have ran it against, ran the HP whatever, fighting or fire with a superior, it would have definitely hit harder. But the thing is that this wasn't a match that was going to favor you, PCM. You knew that.
So it is base 85.
Exactly. It's not really an offensive mon.
Well, that's still pretty good on a times 4. That's the thing, right? Were you running max special attack investment, though?
That's the question. And his silence says no.
Or is he still in the call is the real question.
No, he's still in the call.
Okay, yeah, probably wasn't. And that's, you had probably one of the hardest matches here. You didn't even pick up a kill. The only death I had was my recoil. But,
right.
You have to realize that's one of the hardest matches for you're going to have, because, just everything I'm running is going to be able to resist something you're bringing. Because I was predicting, the grass fighting types, because you got Virizion, you got Chesnaught. I believe you have 1 or 2 others. Breloom. I was predicting that, so that's why really Mega Metagross got brought, and Skarmory. I wasn't expecting Skarmory to even put in that much work. I threw Brave Bird on there just because I'm like, I may as well throw a fighting move, or a move that does damage on here. And it just put in so much work.
You felt ballsy and it worked. Why not, right?
Oh, for sure. Let's move on to the next one though, which is fighting versus ghost.
Fun match.
Oh my gosh, for sure.
Fun. There were some things though that just definitely just made me want to just throw my computer against the wall. I mean, I'm sitting there watching it. And I just was screaming at the computer screen, "Jets, what are you doing, you chicken sandwich head?" You know, I love this guy. He's a fun guy. He's playing first of all. You know, Ghost is a specialized team. You have got to put work in if you want to be able to work them right. It's the truth.
Yes.
But
let's have our guy go over the box scores if he's still here.
Oh, yeah. I'll go over the box scores. You know, if you look at that right up the gate, you know, we have on the Ghost team, Gengar, Trevenant, and Chandelure and Hoopa all fell with 1 death, no kills. The real work on that team came from the Bayonet getting a kill, with the other kill coming from either just from a non related kill, just a self-inflicted kill on the fighting time.
I mean, the way Mega Bennett got its kill, though, is something that we should talk about.
Well, exactly. We're going to in about 5 seconds. Believe me, I'm ready to talk about that. On the fighting side, we have Lucario getting a kill, Scrafty picking up. I don't even think Scrafty made an appearance. Neither did Pangoro. I don't think.
Which is really surprising.
Exactly, but Infernape got 1 kill, also fell down and hurt its knee. Mega Lopunny came out and put in some work with 2 kills, no deaths, and Embor picked up 2 kills, 1 death, ending up in a 4-0 victory for the fighting type. But let's go over that damn Bennett set. Holy cow, what were you doing?
So the Bennett set was as follows. Its first move was Destiny Bond. Its second move was Destiny Bond. Its third move was Destiny Bond.
What was the 4th move?
I believe it was Destiny Bond, but it could have been Protect. So,
what about the 5th move?
Well, the 5th. Well, you know, before going to that, we should go over its EVs, which you know, it had a Destiny Bond in HP.
Oh,
it had a Destiny Bond in speed. So, but yeah,
what was the point of that, dude? I mean, I get it. You know, you expect your brain. I get what. To chicken sandwiches, dude.
Like 4 or 5 turns in a row, Destiny Bond. Just
why would you do that? Because it's Destiny Bond is only a good thing if you surprise somebody with it who's like, no. The thing was, you literally gave him the opportunity to choose which Mon he killed. He sacked off with Destiny Bond.
Even more than that, I think what's really important is, you know, had fighting run any sort of status, like toxic even, that would have been his entire plan just thwarted, because it was pretty clear after I think the 4th or 5th Destiny Bond that's all he was gonna click.
Yeah, so, what's next? I mean, you know, I was surprised he just didn't bring out Gengar and click Destiny Bond too. You know, why not?
Well, that could have given him a really big option to you know, for fighting to set up too, and I think that's a massive mistake on the Ghost team, because, you know, just spamming that, he could have easily gone into any of his mons that, you know, if he had Swords Dance or whatever, and, you know, ultimately he ends up just sacking the Infernape because he had to, but...
Exactly. And the thing was, it's sad though, because you're right, he could have just gone in there and set up in someone's face with the Swords Dance Scrafty, and then just been like, what you got, punk?
Oh, absolutely. But
that's not it. And, you know, I appreciate the comedy from Jets' play, but it was frustrating to watch, because Bennett is so much better than Destiny Bond spam.
Oh, for sure. It is, in my opinion, probably one of the best support megas around, just in terms of, you know, I believe it gets Prankster, correct?
Mega Bayonet, yes.
Yeah, so, you know, being able to get that Prankster Wisp out, it could have done so much work with that. And he only really had, I guess, the 2 fire types to not take that. But I don't feel he played that right. And I feel that Jets should definitely, you know, look at what the Ghost team in the Sun League has been doing, because I watched some of those games, and that's really, you know,
Scotty DP is my 4th match opponent, and I'm super scared to play him. I really am. He's putting in the work.
Well, he understands his type, and I think that's what's scariest, is you can have the strongest type in the league. You can have
but you have to understand it.
But if you don't understand how to use it correctly, you're not going to be much scarier than someone, using like a team of Caterpies.
Yeah, or using a bunch of Felicify sets.
That's true.
But no, I
sorry, I had to put the record. We had to do it.
But that's the thing though, is that it was just one of those matches that I was so frustrated watching, and I don't know what his items were, but his items didn't make sense to me. I don't know what his sets were, but what he could have done more.
Absolutely, and I think again, this is one of those situations where I don't know Jets Lover personally, but it seems like they aren't as experienced as some of the other players, and that's really why I suggest we bring in that maybe a teaching thing where we take we set aside a day and we say like, hey, people who want to just learn some stuff about, I guess, their team or in general, come to this type of thing. We'll teach you some stuff, and we do just a sit down for an hour or two with like a couple of people who understand not only just the typing, but league play in general pretty well, and you just teach them. And because you can definitely see from not only the box score but the match itself of he's definitely one of those people who could benefit from that, along with like Riley, along with who was the other guy I was saying?
There's a couple other. I just don't need to call people out for this.
Well, it's just that they have the potential. Right. They're really good battlers. They just need that experience because they just haven't had the time in life to you get to the point where others are at. But they definitely have the capacity to get there.
And the thing is that you can't go to for this league at least, you can't go to an A drive video, copy a set, and then go, this is going to work, because this is monotype. Monotype does not work for regular GPA format, because you're not rocking the same sets that you would rock in those leagues.
Absolutely, and I think that's again specifically for that, because again the reason I'm doing so well with Steel type is because I really understand the ins and outs of Steel type. I understand its limitations. I understand, what I have to do against certain opponents. And I just don't feel that like people who may be really good battlers outside of Mono League aren't understanding, their own typing. Like maybe they chose it because it's really cool, but I don't know.
I think where people fall in monotype to GBA players, in the comparison, is the prepping. You got to prep for like 11 or 12 mons in GBA format, but in certain types you have to prep for like 120 mons.
Yeah. So, and the thing is though, it's never quite that big PCM. It's at most for every type, it's maybe 30. And I'm being serious, because you got so many NFE mons in a lot of these types that you really can't count those. I mean, nobody's gonna run Lillipup on the normal type team.
I'm gonna run it now. Thank you. Okay. If I get normal next season, I'm running it.
Bring it on, Biscuit Head. But the thing is that that's what it is though. Is that you are still prepping for a larger mon pool, but you do have the common weaknesses across the entire team in general. Mm-hmm. Like for instance, whenever you're prepping for the normal team, you prep for a normal team, you prep for fighting spam, but you prepare for the fact that they're going to bring 2 or 3 birds. Because the birds take care of the fighting spam, and that's what you got to think about. You got to think about, okay, what are their common weaknesses, and what mons remove those common weaknesses, because each type has mons that remove those.
Absolutely, and I think again that's understanding team building in this format is essential, because again, you can be the best team builder outside of this, and you can just prep the best team you've ever thought, nothing can stop it, and it can completely shut down by just one mon if you don't, understand how monotype's gonna work. But let's move on to the last match here of Rock versus Ice.
This has been a fun one, man. PCM, go over the box score, please.
The box score for the Rock vs. Ice game was Mega Aggron went 0-1, Mega Nancy went 0-1, Rampardos went 0-1, Probopass went 0-1, Terrakion went 1-1, and Choco went 0-1. And the Ice type team went Cloyster went 0-1, Red and Frost went 0-0, Mammoth went 2-0, Kieran Black went 4-0, Abomasnow went 0-0, and Glaceon went 0-0. It was a 5-0 win. It was a 5-0 win in the favor of Ice type.
Now, going into this match, obviously the Rock team had a disfavorable matchup. Obviously,
I disagree with that. I think Rock team had a massive benefit.
Yeah, they had the better
really.
matchup.
Please explain your thoughts. I know that they have better Mons, but I was saying in the Mons they brought, I thought that was a little bit rough.
Well,
I brought definitely in the Mons.
Rock is
well, like,
super effective against ice. And even looking at what got brought, Aggron having both ice and both rock and steel, both types super effective against ice. And looking over the entire team, I believe hitting everything with super effective, at least with one of those two. Mega Deoncé again having access to both EP and Diamond Storm. Hitting, I believe, the entirety of Ice Team for super effective on one side.
Apart from
Mamoswine to a degree, maybe. I think you're right about that. Yeah, because Mamoswine hits neutral. But even hitting Mamoswine neutral is pretty good for a Deoncé.
Yes.
Rampardos and Probopass. Probopass, the same issue. The same thing with Aggron. It's really good special attack. Rampardos can hit like a truck. Terrakion having the fighting rock. Hits, again, super effective. And then I guess the Shuckle is the only real thing I could have seen switch, but again, that's a setup, so.
The reason why I was saying that it was a match that was going to be in Ice's favor, at least in my opinion, is not because of the typing. Obviously, Rock has the advantage as a type, but what I was going to say is because of Mons that are in the pool of ice. Remember, there's a lot of ice Mons that are dual type with water. Mm-hmm. You have Cloyster. You have the Dugong, you have the Whaleren, you have what's Walrein?
Wailord. No, Wailord. Walrein, not Wailord.
Yeah, that's what I said. But you also have Mega Abomasnow, which is actually the Mega that I think that was on the roster this week. It never got showed, so it's obviously counted as still Abomasnow. But that's what we saw this week. The Ice type does have a deep Mon pool, whether people want to say it or not. And I've seen people trashing the Ice type. Ice type is not a trash type. All right.
A lot of people say it's bad, but even in competitive play, it's an amazing type. Who doesn't want Hidden Power Ice on a lot of their Mons?
I mean,
exactly.
It's very hard to use, and Blue really used it well. That's I think what's important.
And the most special thing to me, at least, was that once again, he was using this type without having to spam for all three of the Mons that I would have spammed. I would have totally spammed a scarf or Specs Dugong and a scarf for Specs Walrein in this match.
Which is really surprising.
Totally.
Because I would have spammed exactly what he did with that Kirin Black, which I'm not sure if it was scarfed. I can't remember. But absolutely, I would scarf a Kirin Black every day of the week. That base 95 speed,
Exactly.
Especially when it gets access to Earth Power, it gets access to Flash Cannon. There's not much you're going to do to that. Because, I mean, I don't believe anything the Rock team can bring is going to resist both of those.
Right. And that's the thing, though. I mean, it was a fun match to watch, and I felt really bad as the Houston Herdiers team, which you could tell he put in some serious work for prep, just got obliterated. I mean, it was just rough to watch. He tried to put this out. He tried to put that out. I wonder, should he have used a Scarf Terrakion in this situation?
I feel like he definitely should. You should. I mean, in a league like this, you absolutely need to be, aware that those, base 70 to about just under 100, can almost guarantee that they're going to be scarfed. So, to prepare for that, you have to bring something that can deal with that. I mean, you saw it in my match with the Heatran. I mean, I've seen it in other matches where you have a Mon that, you should outspeed no problem, but they just run a scarf because it just makes sense. And, right. I mean, Terrakion would make sense because, I mean, I'm looking at his team there. I don't think anything on that team would outspeed a scarfed Terrakion.
Exactly. And the thing that I'm really surprised by, there are some really fun Rock Mons that he could have just brought in there for either escape policies, I like to call them, or other things. I didn't like I didn't like the I didn't like the fact that there wasn't a golem in this match. I love golem in this format. And the reason why is because golem's an escape policy if you really need one.
That's
You know
true.
what I'm saying?
Rock polish, weakness policy. God, switchings.
I wasn't even gonna say that. I was just gonna say, you can do that, or you can just have it as the fully invested adamant attack, sturdy explosion mon, ready to go in case you absolutely need to get rid of one mon that you cannot deal with.
Well, even going over the rock polish weakness policy set, I mean, there's not many answers to that. Having that rock stab, that's going to hit really hard.
Ground stab as well. Don't forget that. If you really want to run earthquake that week.
Heavy slam. You got. The real issue for rock is I think their moves. They don't have the best accuracy on the majority of their moves, so you're always taking a risk. So I don't know. It's really tough for rock. I think
the problem with rock moves, very powerful moves that can hit hard. Just the accuracy can really stop them.
Oh, well,
I'm really curious about that, though. I mean, it's one of those types that I have a lot of respect for the rock type as a whole, and it's a better type than it's been played so far. Not that the teams that have been using it have played wrong. It's just there have been things that could have worked better. And the rock type, I guarantee you, it's not a trash type. People have been saying some trash about it. Yes, there's accuracy problems, but there are ways to get around that if you prep right. Just with everything else.
Well, there are no real trash types. It's really, any type can feasibly win. And I remember from your announcement video, any type can win. You just really need to know the ins and outs of how your type is going to work. Because, the grass type is going to be completely different than something like a dragon type, or, the ghost type, or the steel type. They're all going to play differently. And I think that's really important to understand about your type. For steel, you gotta be really resilient. You need to understand your speed is horrible. But for something like grass, you have a lot more support. You can get a lot more status off. You can play a lot trickier. And for something like, ice, you have access to, a good selection of mons. You can put in that good damage. So, you have options there. You just really have to understand not only, what you can do, but what you can't do.
Exactly, yeah. And let's be honest. You're correct. Absolutely, there are certain types that are more beginner friendly, as I like to call them. The dragon type, the psychic type, the flying type, if played correctly, fighting and fire and water are all very beginner friendly.
Absolutely.
Types. And that's why they're going to go high in a lot of these draft formats, is because they're beginner friendly. You don't have to put in 3 hours of prep each week just to really understand what you're going to do. You don't have to do that. And I get that. That's why they're going to be drafted high, because they're just beginner friendly.
Absolutely.
Just going back on the tricky mons for the grass type, I ran Iron Ball Prankster Switcheroo Whizmacott against you, Vampire.
I know. So there you go. Stuff like that is, it's tricky because you have access to that. You have access to Prankster through Whimsicott. I believe you get access to T-Wave through a couple of them. You get, Stun Spore. You get Spore. You're going to be doing a lot more status shenanigans than the Dragon type would be doing. The Dragon type really wants to just hit you really hard and hit you really fast. So.
And the big thing about this is that, even if you do have these issues, I think a lot of these guys that are once they really understand more about monotype, they can play really well. The thing is that there's one item that I haven't seen been brought. I've seen it used twice so far. Sorry, just once so far, and across the entire league and all league matches, and it's really actually worked. And that's weakness policy. Weakness policy is a game changer if you have it on the right wall.
No, if you have it on the right mon in general, not even just have to be a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sturdy weakness policy can just destroy teams. Like we said, Golem. Get a weakness policy up with sturdy and then click explosion.
Exactly. I mean, even if you don't even have to use a sturdy mon, just use a focus sash mon that is not the sash isn't going to break on.
You can't run both.
Focus sash weakness policy, new meta. 7th gen confirmed.
Double item new meta.
I know, right? All of a sudden, next week, everyone uses weakness policy on their first mon brought out.
But no, absolutely. It's it's one of those items that certain weeks I know I'm gonna have to bring on certain mons just because there's gonna be no other option. And a lot of the things I haven't really seen are the berries, and I'm really surprised that.
Oh, don't worry, I'm bringing like 10 of them this week.
They're all orange berries, though.
All of them are gonna be orange.
Yeah.
Fuck the rest.
Anyway, Ivan Vampire 218 bringing you.
I'm Levonant.
The recap of week 1 of the, MCL Moon League. Any final thoughts, guys?
Just, guys, keep the hype up alive. A lot of you guys that had tough weeks in week 1 in the Moon Conference, keep your chins up. All right. I mean, these are not easy matches to learn. They are fun as chicken sandwich and fun for us to watch. Just so you know, we're never bashing anyone personally. We're just trying to point out things that you can do better. Because at the end of the day, there are all things that hindsight's 20/20, and especially for us guys who are on the outside looking in, you may have narrowed your mind so hard that you couldn't see around what you were doing. But we as the outsiders looking in on the matchup can see things that you just can't see right now, and it's okay. We're here to help. Absolutely.
I mean, look at my early matches, and you'll see I get destroyed until I start really, opening my mind, learning how to team prep better, and that's more important than the battle itself. I'd say it's about 50-50 team prep and the actual battle. So, you got to be prepped for that.
I'm just gonna say it's a whole new world than our normal battling. You have to prep more. You have to play. You have to play more predictions. You got to play safer. You got to play riskier at some points. You got to play with your team, and you got to know how you play your team.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, Levo, I probably ProCraft Master are all here whenever people need help. Just give us a shout, and hopefully we'll arrange something where we can, have like a little sit down with a bunch of people and just, help them out so that they can get understanding this type of league better. Because, going into this,
it's a whole new world.
It's like if I wouldn't have gotten the steel type, I mean, I probably don't know what I would have done because it's the only type I really understand the ins and outs of. So, anyway. Well,
yeah, like my first week, I spent probably 3.5 hours my first week, just because I knew maybe a third of the fire type well, and the rest of it I was just like, yeah, I have no clue. Who am I rock? What do I have for this? What do I have for that? And that's what you got to do. You got to look at the normal levels and normal roles that are in a league format, and you have to first identify what you have for each role, and then second off, figure out how you're going to make a synergized team effort against a type.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing about this format is your sets. Some questionable sets might work out in this format.
Well, even questionable mons too. I mean,
yeah.
Certain mons that you would never see in regular league, or you would very, very seldom see even getting drafted, could be, putting in so much work in this type of league. Like Shuckle very seldom gets, gets drafted, or if it does, it gets drafted pretty late.
I'm looking at the fairy match. Jinx, you almost never see Jinx in a normal league format. Heck, even in standard play, you won't see Jinx.
Exactly.
Even still looking at this Rock versus Ice thing, you very seldom see Obama, Snow, and Glaceon. Even Rotom Frost. I mean,
unless you're Envy, you don't run that.
True.
And the thing is, Rotom Frost has actually been a very useful mon in this format so far. But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about these, there are mons out there that don't work normally that work all of a sudden in this format. So you got to throw out everything that you learned about GBA. Except and play this format like it's a clean slate.
Absolutely. Anyway,
play it like you're playing a new generation. You're learning new mons.
In closing, guys, this is Vampire 218's show. He's an amazing host. Keep loving his content. I'm Levonant, aka Warfare 120. You guys know me somewhat, I guess. I hope.
His
if you don't, then hello.
Sub to him. Sub to me. Keep watching because, I'm putting out my matches. He's putting out his matches. There's just tons of other people that if you just search around, you'll find their matches. And, keep the hype up, guys, because this is a really fun league. I'm having a great time playing in it. I'm
Yeah.
having a great time, you know, doing stuff like this for it. Yeah, I think everyone else is in the same boat. So, you know, keep up the hype and, you know, watch for the Master Ball.